Why acting?
Why acting?
I want to go back 7-8 years when you did Barakah. I think it was a turning point for Saudi cinema. For goodness sake, there was a bra on the movie poster. Any criticism faced with that movie, and how did you handle it?
Look, can I tell stories? Because I'm like a storyteller.
You're here for that.
Okay. The painful moments in my childhood made me think or assume that life will be miserable. Dysfunctional family was horrible. It was like a big thing. Now every family I know is dysfunctional. Dysfunctional is kind of relatively normal. And that's fine because we're also very unique individuals and there are patterns in life that we follow.
Imposter syndrome. Did you ever experience that?
I don't think of it as a problem. Maybe it is. Maybe that's part of having it. I don't know. Whatever we speak, whatever we utter, whatever that comes out of our mouths is a reflection of who we are.
We're moving beyond, using our past to propel, sharing our culture, nature, heritage, hospitality, progress with the rest of the world. Welcome to our future. Welcome to Saudia, built on big ideas and a passion for change, inspired by heritage and progress, made by dreams and determination. We exemplify it all. Come find your place in it, with us. Our future starts now. Saudia. This is how we fly.
I'm excited.
No pressure.
Not at all.
So let's kick off with this one. Do you have anything today that you dreamt of when you were a 5 or 6-year-old girl?
Oh my goodness, of course. Of course, I'm grateful for everything. I think as a child, when I think about it, everything is magnified, the good and the bad. So the painful moments in my childhood made me think or assume that life will be miserable because they were magnified. They were like humongous. I worried a lot and I thought about them. So honestly, I feel very grateful and very thankful for everything I'm in. I wouldn't even imagine having thought about it as a child. So my life today is like planned, unplanned. You know, like I trusted the process, I played along, and it happened. Beautiful things unfolded along the way. But imprecise? Are you asking imprecise?
Yeah, I am. I want to know if you have something today that you really wished for when you were younger.
I think a peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, like just being in the moment, enjoying the present moment, enjoying my family, my friends, creating, having time to create. I feel like that's pure joy. And having a job that you love and that you've created to create. You know what I mean? I think I was a very creative child, but then I didn't ever imagine that could be or could land you a job or a career. So maybe, yeah, for these elements, I'm very grateful.
I mean, it's a very refreshing answer. A lot of people would have said, I would have loved this house, or, to marry this person, or to be living in this city, or to have this much money, or to have this car. I know I would have said car. But for you to say something so intangible and friggin' real and say peace of mind, that's refreshing.
Yeah, I feel like as a child, I was more serious than I am today. I was more like, look, I was very playful and very, very like outgoing and dynamic. But at the same time, I feel like my head was a drill. Like it was like always kind of very meticulous and very overthinking of specific matters in life. And I wanted to do things. I was very kind of like fair to everyone, and I wanted things to be fair, and I wanted life to be good. But now I'm more at peace because I know that not everything could be very exact, and that's okay. And alhamdulillah, maybe my response wasn't that measurable, let's say, because يعني ربنا أنعم علينا إنه I do have the house, I do have the car, I do have the family, I do have the basic elements in life. So I mean, maybe, of course, I'm grateful for these things, but I feel like if you have the basic things in life, then I'm most grateful for having the mind to appreciate what I have and to be able to give you this response. I don't know, honestly, I'm just trying to be present.
I love it. Did one of the things you let go of, from what I'm getting from that, is that you are less controlling? Maybe when you were younger, you were I can't think of another word to say it, but control freak. Are you less that today and more go with the flow? I think that, with age, we tend to, I guess, with age, we get disappointed and humbled, right? In my life, with age, I've been very disappointed by people and humbled in things that, maybe I thought I was God's gift to the world. And then as you age, you realize, you ain't shit. So with age, which is a beautiful part of wisdom, did you just start thinking that, whatever is to be, and God has a road paved for me, and I'm just going to be less controlling?
Big time. Big time. You make your part, you do your part, you think your part. And of course, I wouldn't say I'm not an overthinker today. I am. But these elements that you were just talking about are some humbling elements that you come to understand and you come to appreciate and respect as you grow. And whatever you were thinking as the end of the world is actually just the beginning of the world. The rest is, a bit messy. So, and it's fine. And, like, مثلا, when I was younger, thinking of something as messy or not really functioning, the term dysfunctional family, was horrible. It was like a big thing. Now every family I know is dysfunctional. Dysfunctional is kind of relatively normal. And that's fine because we're also very unique individuals, and there are patterns in life that we follow, like, structures and systems of being and ecosystems. But then each one of us exists and they create or leave their own mark in life. And not all of us are very tidy and, exact. And that makes us messy. And it's fine because you know what? We're trying our best. And I think when you try your best, some things get messy because it's really your best.
And it's human.
And it's very human, So I feel like, I've come to appreciate the messiness and the crowd and the differences between us, and that not everything is controllable, as you said. Like when I was young, I remember. Look, can I tell stories? Because I'm like a storyteller.
You're here for that.
Okay. So I remember, as a young child, I would be like, مثلا 6 or 7 years old. And in the supermarket, we'd be shopping like it's a Friday afternoon, very cool, chill day with my family. And if one of us walks into, for example, the aisle for, I don't know, cornflakes or Kleenex or whatever, and the other one is in the fridge area getting themselves some yogurt, I'd go to the fridge area, call upon the person buying the yogurt and be like, listen, but like mama is in the cornflakes area, so that they can not get lost. And I used to be this kind of character. I want everyone to be aligned and to be in the same aisle, but guess what? each one of us is in an aisle on their own today. And I feel like that's okay, because when like the microphone, supermarket calls upon us, we all listen up and like respond. And I think that's the most important element of eventually. Yeah.
Love the analogy. Were you the eldest?
No.
Yet you found yourself trying to consolidate everyone into one area.
Yeah. At the time, I was the youngest when I used to do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Youngest of how many?
2 older and then me.
And you were the one who has probably shown most concern.
Yeah.
That we need to stick together.
Yeah. Like one, like a group of, it's like, hey, we're here, we're there. We just moved, by the way. And I sometimes do this nowadays, but like, then I remember the child in me and I actually like smile about it. No, yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, that's, it's pretty cool to see that someone's personality trait really shows from a younger age.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. It's not something that you were taught. Can you? I mean, was that something that you think that because you were the youngest you were, or it was just nature versus nurture?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of it now. I don't think I was taught that. But I think maybe because I feel like everyone was very comfortable being in their own element. So I wanted them to be together. And yeah, I went through a phase where I felt there was a transition in my household and I wanted everyone to be sitting in the living room, for example. And the fact that everyone is sitting in their own room bothered me. Lazim, we have this quality time. Like, we're together. We're watching one thing. And then I'm like, no, actually, it's fine. And you also need your alone time, And I do. I spend a lot of alone time by myself. But at that age, I went through this phase, and probably there are elements that contributed to why I did such behaviors. And I reflect upon them. I revisit them, and I like tracing back some behaviors into why, what was the cause, what was the trigger. And I think that's part of, coming to peace with them. Like, okay, I have it. Sometimes it will resurface, but how do I deal with it? And does it make me dysfunctional today, or it makes me just continue my day adi? You know what's really scary? Like, really, really scary? People that lie to themselves about having a problem. Being in a family that's dysfunctional. What is it? If you know that you know, you're fine. If you don't know that you don't know, you're dangerous. So, and if you just think about it, I mean, I'm sure maybe some people come to mind. Like, if you know you have a problem, that's amazing. You're going to work on it. I know I have ADHD or ADD or maybe a mix of both. Yeah.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
I am not in denial about it. But really, those who think that they are God's gift to the world, or that they have no problems, or they have too much pride to admit that, they came from a family that was a little on the dysfunctional side. Those are people you want to cross the street to avoid.
Yeah.
A generic question.
Tell me.
No, I'm not going to frame it that way. I'm going to bring it in another way. They say the day you mature in life, like officially mature, is when you forgive your parents for everything. Now, I'm not going to ask you what kind of parenting your parents, what kind of parenting your parents had on you. I'm going to ask you if you ever got to the stage where you were like, you know what, I forgive my parents for what they did, because at the time they did what they could with the information they had to them available at the time. Did you ever feel that there was resentment? Did you ever feel that you appreciated the hardships that they have gone through for you? What kind of relationship do you have when you think of such a memory?
Oh my, big time. I appreciate every contribution, every parenting style they've tried or attempted to try, or tried but failed to complete it, or
It's hard.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard. And I think whatever parenting style you ever receive, there will always be a better form, a different form to compare it to. So, like, will this ever end? You know, will any parent ever be like, oh my, you're the best of the best and khalas? Or there will always be room for change, room for development, even amongst siblings. So if you're the eldest, are you the eldest? Are you the youngest? Middle?
Four out of five.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 50, yeah.
So I'm sure amongst maybe your siblings, do you have this discussion of like, لمن كان صغير, when you were, my dad was okay with it, my mom was okay completely, you know?
Yeah.
And usually the younger ones get more free time and less regulations. And
I can think of so many examples. Absolutely.
Yes. So
because the parents are getting older too on this journey. So the parent of child 1 is not going to be the same parent as child 5 20 years later.
Yes. And don't they say that there's no one feet that can step into a river twice, right? Because the river keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
We keep changing, and like you can't assume that that you'll ever experience the same parent, and that's completely fine. But yes, I did experience resentment. I did experience pointing fingers, blaming, victimizing myself. Of course, I went through the entire package.
The whole bit.
Yes, because I was a teenager, and because I went to college, and because I wanted things I didn't get, and because I had aspirations, and because so many elements that allowed me to question and to, experience. So yes, I did experience all the above. But where I am today, I feel like I'm in a place where I just want to enjoy my parents because they're alive, alhamdulillah, and because I'm very grateful for all the teachings that they've contributed to my being and my family's being. And hopefully I, if anything, try to become a better version. But honestly, I'm not even sure I can be a better version because I myself, as a parent, I don't know if I'll ever have a child that would never question إنه ليش ماما ما سوى كده, why didn't you do this, I wanted this, I wanted that,
Mm-hmm.
So when you put yourself in the position of a parent, you kind of empathize.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember before I became a parent, I'd look at my cousins giving their kids fast food. I'm like, when I'm a parent, I'm never going to give them fast food. They'll never have a single French fry.
And then?
Every Friday. Every Friday.
Yeah.
It's easy to point the finger when you're not the person in the arena. It's easy to point. But when you're there, it's a whole different ballgame.
And this applies to everything, not only parenting, not only families, anything, anyone in life, anyone doing something new, trying something out. This is the beginning of a judging cycle. This is how we begin to judge others, right? I mean, whether you're a parent or not, it's not about parenting. It's about what we assume of others, what we expect of them. And the moment we are not getting what we are expecting, something happens there and we are allowed to judge and question and resent. And we see this amongst us as communities, as people, as students, as friends, as colleagues, resentment and judgment continuously. But then when you try to empathize with the other, and maybe they're going through something, maybe they're trying their best.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone on earth that is not trying their best. Even the person lazy on the couch is actually trying their best.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I just, with you saying what you did, you just made me realize that being judgmental is probably number 2 on the list of the most traits I hate in people. 1 being arrogance, takabbur. 2, judgy. And I think these 2 typically go hand in hand. Yeah. And you see too many examples of judgment and not enough people saying, well, maybe that person's having a bad day. You don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
So I've been public about this. For the past couple of years, I've been suffering from a benign situation of skip heartbeats. It's like, it's a very uncomfortable thing, but when I get it, it's like, it can ruin my train of thought. It sometimes affects me when I'm having conversations. Typically sugar is the culprit here. So I'm just really trying to not touch sugar these days. But I decided to reframe the sensation and know I'm getting it. Why is God sending me this? What am I to learn from this? And I made a list. I think I'm at 13 things that I am benefiting from the skipped heartbeats in terms of learnings. And one of the things is, Hamid, you're going through this right now that nobody can see.
Yeah.
Be a little kinder to someone next time, because they could be going through something that you can't see. So that was a big, big takeaway from something that I decided to reframe. What can I learn from this? And obviously patience, maximizing every day.
Oh my God.
Not taking health for granted. And then one of it was, this is something that nobody can see. They don't know you're going through this. Be a little kinder to the next person, because you don't know what they're going through. And I think that's a big, I don't think we're going to get so deep, in the first 20 minutes, but
we're there already.
We're there already. It's I think it's very important to put yourself in people's shoes and understand and empathize that they could be going through hell. You just can't see it.
Honestly, really, really respect this. وسلامتك.
Allah يسلمك. It's better without sugar in my life.
Yeah.
But when I sometimes lose myself, I got to check by every heart doctor. It's benign, but when you get it, it's just like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Well, since we're there, imposter syndrome. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah.
Which basically, for those who don't know the real definition of it, it means not feeling that you're worthy for what you're doing, feeling that you're less than what people think you are. That's how I define imposter syndrome. I don't know if I'm close or not.
I think you're pretty accurate. Yes, I do. But I don't think of it as a problem. Maybe it is. Maybe that's part of having it. I don't know. If there's someone watching who's a clinical psychologist of some sort, please analyze me. Without a diagnosis, but just like a room for conversation. Whether or not my feeling of it being okay, that I feel not as great or not as big or not as accomplished.
Yeah.
But just as you just phrased it really nicely with your experience, with your health experience, I feel like sometimes I could apply this to get myself more encouraged, or wake up in the morning and feel like, yalla, let's think of the next project. I know that we live in a fast-paced life, and maybe that's not the momentum to follow all the time, because sometimes there's this rush and hurry that I want to do more and more and more, and I don't think that's the rhythm that I want to apply to my life. But in a way, yeah, I've experienced this. It helped me overdevelop my work. Well, funny enough, when your work is out, you notice that it's never overly developed, because there's room for criticism, and all of a sudden everyone's criticizing, and you're like, oh, I should have worked on it 2 more years, 4 more years, 5 more years. And to myself, because this is really deeply rooted in also my household and my family, we do things very like neatly and polished, and we overanalyze each other's work as like our hobby. But once your work is out, you can never perfect it. Again, maybe to the first question, there's always a messy element about it. There's always something that is incomplete about it. And yes, I am human. I'm trying my very best, and I'm trying to perfect it. But there is my human touch there, and it's okay to stay. But to respond to your question, I do feel this a lot. And then thank God for people, because they remind you. And in times where you're in your thoughts, really, really like deeply in your, I'm not good enough. I didn't do well enough. I can do more. I have the potential to contribute more. What am I doing? All these conversations in your head. There are individuals around you, I believe they're God sent, that make you aware that you've done so much more than what you can imagine. And that you've impacted them in ways that you have never planned for, And I think people's, this is one thing that I remember as a child. I remember one of my friends used to compliment naturally. She'd walk into a room and she'd be like, "Oh my God, ما شكلك حلو." Just casually like that. And it would sound a little bit awkward because you're not really used to it. You're not used to someone being like, "Hey, oh my God, you look so beautiful today." It's like, "Hey, whoop. Okay, thank you." But really, she had this thing in her, okay? It was so beautiful. Until now, she تدلعنا, She's like, مرة حلو عليك اللون. Sincerely. And if you meet this woman, she's only sincere. Really, she's a beautiful soul. And I learned this from her. And to speak what crosses my eye, sometimes I appreciate it in my head, but I don't vocalize it. I don't tell the person how beautiful this is, how beautiful this color looks on you, how beautiful this wall is. I never really say it because خلاص, I just assume, as a matter of fact, everyone sees that you're beautiful. Everyone sees that this project is really great. Everyone sees, but not a lot of people say it. And a lot of those people, God sent individuals that tell me these phrases, I'm like, thank you. Like, they just pass through your day and they tell you something that is so beautiful. And in your head, you're in the exact opposite spectrum of their line or their phrase.
It's almost like something that you needed to hear.
Yeah.
Like an affirmation.
Yeah. And in a way, it's like a treatment. It's like, oh, thank you.
Honestly, God bless people who are like that.
Yeah.
Because, that's life, right? All you have is this fleeting moment. People on their deathbed, their biggest regrets is what they didn't do or what they didn't say or the risks they didn't take. So if you think something is beautiful or a comment needs to be made for better or worse, it could be constructive criticism as well on the other side. Bloody say it. Life's too short to, it's like, say it. I love that about it. Hey guys, just before we continue, I want to talk to you about 8 Sleep, which is a company we just partnered up with. I've always said how much I value sleep. It's not something that would come easy to me, which is why I partnered up with these guys. They just launched their Pod 5, which is a mattress that pretty much goes over your regular existing mattress, and it automatically regulates your temperature through the night. The result? Up to 1 hour extra sleep per night. That's 7 hours per week. Game changer. The pod is incredibly smart. It can cool your bed down to 12 degrees if you live in warmer climates, or up to 43 degrees if you live in colder climates. It can detect snoring, track your sleep without you wearing anything. So they gave me a link. With that link, you can get 1,400 Rial discount on your pod, on your new Pod 5 by 8 Sleep. We'll put the link in the show notes below. It's 8sleep.com/Moshow. Once you try this, you will never be able to sleep without one. My guarantee. Why acting?
Why acting? When you don't go to nature for a while and you feel like kinda imbalanced?
Yeah.
You feel like you need the breeze of air, you need to see the sea, the waves, to touch the water, to just enjoy nature.
Senses.
And to me, acting is really all the senses activated. For me, acting is non-acting. It's just trying to be and activate all your senses that are often deactivated, or, they're not really fully mature on daily basis.
Yeah.
But when you're on set and you're acting, let's say in cinema or even on stage in theater, you are activating every sense, every muscle to be very, very fully present in service of this character that you are trying to bring to the stage or to the camera. And funny enough, when I was young, I was very active and very hyper. I used to climb things, and I used to be very, very active, dynamic. But I only spoke when I was very comfortable. With certain individuals, I would blubber, like I would just nonstop talk. But with the general public, I'd be quiet, completely. Very observing, very curious, but very quiet. And I think this pent up, like piling up of emotions and spoken word can come very beautifully on sets of cinema and also on stage, which is how I started.
Are you an ambivert?
What does that mean?
It's neither an introvert or an extrovert. In the middle.
Maybe.
No all out, outgoing. No to yourself, a recluse. Are you in the middle?
I love my alone time. I love people, but to a certain extent. Like being around them for long hours, I need to definitely get a breather after.
Come back to baseline.
Yeah.
Always like this, or now recently? Were you extroverted in your early 20s?
Maybe, probably. Actually, yes. In my early 20s, I think I was. I was a student government president.
Okay. Yeah,
in university.
You need to be an extrovert for that.
I was very much an extrovert. I joined the debate club. I used to speak in public. I had just overcome my stage frights, my shyness, my blushing. And, when you just overcome, it's like a threshold. You just overcome something. It's like a new discovery. It's like a new toy. You only play with it, right? Until khalas. You just let it on the side, right? But this toy I've discovered, and it's like addictive.
Was that the moment when you wanted to do something that requires you putting yourself out there?
Yeah, there was a spark in my eye that I felt. And also we were going through maybe a stage as I grew older and older from that stage. I noticed how important sometimes for certain individuals to take the microphone and speak, because some things are left unsaid, and that's great, but some things are worthy of saying, of mentioning, of bringing to the surface. Because they contribute to the narrative. And in a way, there was like an important narrative that I wanted to highlight, that I wanted to bring light to, how beautiful it was. And I found a space for that. Yeah, in acting and films and mostly in screenplays.
So funny, because they're 90% of the careers that exist on the planet, you won't be judged for that work. Whether it's accounting, whether it's, a lot of it is your work isn't out there for everyone to see and then critique on and criticize or compliment. Acting is one of those jobs where you need thick skin, or else public opinion will be detrimental to your future. Question is, did the craft of practicing acting for you eventually lead to you getting thicker skin?
Yeah, surprisingly, I never thought I was capable of getting thicker skin, because I'm so sensitive. I am incredibly sensitive to the extent of like, خلاص بعد يعني, you're too sensitive.
Today as well?
Yeah, but I think of it as a gift nowadays. Like, I'm using it differently. So it's the same. I don't believe it changed. I'm still very sensitive. Any word, any gesture, any behavior anyone does. I'm a very observant person. I'm very curious. And I think I've stayed enough years as a child, like just observing the world, that I kind of like understood people and dynamics between people, human relations, what someone says and how another person reacts. And nowadays, that's there. It gets to me, but I use it to serve my instrument, my human instrument. Yeah.
I want to go back 7-8 years when you did Barakah, which is
Okay.
a movie. I mean, I think it was a turning point for Saudi cinema.
Yeah.
And maybe one of the reasons for it being a turning point was, I mean, for goodness sake, there was a bra on the movie poster,
Yes.
which we'll put up on the screen right now. What kind of criticism was there criticism that came from you doing that movie, you know, Saudi society, Saudi culture, 2016, was it?
Yes. So it
9
was
years ago.
released 2016.
So that those 9 years is maybe 90 years in any other country.
Very
Saudi
much.
changed exponentially over those 9 years.
Yeah.
Any criticism faced with that movie, and how did you handle it?
Yes.
I loved that movie, by the way.
Me too.
You were really good in it.
Oh, thank
You
you.
were really, really good in it.
It was just the beginning.
It was so good.
That was beginner's luck, as they say, you know? And I think it was very raw, very natural. We were young, we were motivated, we were making our dreams come true. I don't know in what element, in what capacity, but it was very youthful in spirit, you know? And I like the youth. I like that spirit. It's very genuine.
It spoke to people.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And the story impacted me. It resonated. I judged the character a lot, Bibi, before playing her character. I really came to meet her from a place of judgment before a place of empathy. I had this like fashionista. I was a fresh graduate with a master's degree. This was 2 months into, 2 months prior to Barakah. I was graduating. And so I really didn't disconnect my graduation hat and my gown from that character that I was meeting. So that was also me being honest in a way with someone a little bit foreign from my character at the time until you play the character, right? And then anyone speaks a word about Baby, I'm the first to come like a wild cat, like, you know, defending her.
Of it.
Because that's what acting does to you. You empathize with characters and you know every element, their backstory, their motives, their needs, and the clash they have with their wants, and how they are meeting themselves in front of the world, and how they're facing their antagonist and their superheroes, and there's a world of their own that in one point you're completely foreign to. And then by the end of the project, you're like, it's me. It's my values. You know, all of a sudden you embrace the beautiful things about these characters and you begin to see a lot of them in society. You begin to see them. It's so funny because in streets, I used to play these games in the car because, you know, we didn't drive. So I had a lot of alone time in the car and my college was really far away from my house. So I spent hours in the car. And I remember whenever someone, for example, you mentioned cars, you liked cars in the first question. So for example, someone would bring up a name of a car and I'd be clueless. I'm like, oh, this car, right? And the next morning I'd be taken to, you know, my college. So half an hour, 40-minute commute. And all of a sudden, the entire route is that car.
Wow. Different versions of that car.
Yeah, because, you know, the moment you bring about, you mention something in life, you begin to notice it.
Correct. I think it's called recency bias.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it's like that in characters. Mm-hmm. You begin to play them and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, she's like Bibi. Oh my God, she's like Samad. Oh my God, she's like Gigi. Oh my God. There's so many of these characters everywhere we go. And you connect differently, you know? You connect differently and it makes you appreciate your shared humanity with those people that one day they're like you and one day they're the extreme opposite of you, but you like them.
Do you love the craft of acting? Does it feel like work?
So it started feeling like work eventually. I'd like to note that I haven't been on a film set as an actor in about 2 years.
Because you've been directing and writing?
I've been writing and directing, and I've opened my company, but also because of some things that started piling up on sets. And as I mentioned, I overthink things and I observe and I notice things, and having a fair and steady and safe workplace is very important for me and for others. And I feel like I've started, coming into this industry when it was very raw and very simple, There's no simpler word than simple. It was just simple. And the more an industry grows, the more there are more people, the more there's more systems of operation and mindsets and like-minded people and people that don't match your culture, don't match your values.
It's more fingerprints.
More fingerprints, more work, more effort, and more energy, which is also something to admire and respect and want. You want more of this. But I started, feeling that I want to write more. I came into this industry because there was something about Barakah Meets Barakah that I liked about, particularly in the story. There was something in the story, and there is something in every story that I choose. In every character that I choose, there is a story. But the mandates in our industry is also business, right? So there's more that people want, that studios want business-wise. And I completely admire that. But in this case, I'll come in as a writer-director and not necessarily as an actor. And that's when you can choose to shift hats and, play with the game. It's there.
2 questions, and they could have the same answer. What do you enjoy doing the most, and what are you best at? You know how they say when it's all over, God will hold you accountable for not exercising the God-given talent he gave you.
Yeah.
If you are an amazing singer and, you ended up choosing the route of painting and you're an average painter, you will be asked why you didn't exercise the talent that God gave you. What is the talent that God gave you from those 3 things: acting, writing, directing? And what do you enjoy doing the most?
I think it would be so unfair if I say God had given me the gift of being the greatest actor of them all. That's just like the antagonist in Snow White.
Off the record. No one's listening. What do you think you are best at?
I think when you enjoy something really, really to the max, you have to be good at it. And I think I really enjoy acting. I love acting. I really do. I told you, it's like nature for me. And I love nature. I love anything and everything about nature. And when I don't visit it, I know that I am imbalanced. However, I also very much love writing. And I think that's really the essence to me. Acting is so beautiful that I want to visit every now and then. I want to make big projects, characters that break stereotypes and that surprise myself before anyone else. But I feel like writing for me is a gift I've never given attention to. And you brought this question by putting it in the frame of, if God had gifted you with muscles that you're not using, or a voice that you're not singing with, or a brush or a finger that you're not painting with, then you're questioned for that, right? And I feel like I have questioned myself for ignoring the craft of writing. Because since a very young age, I was always complimented for my writing because no one really saw me as an actor. I mean, I wasn't acting, right? But then when the industry, pre-industry, I started acting and I grew with it. Acting really makes you famous.
It does.
The headlines will never say Fatima the writer and over the actor, because the actor is more famous than the writer. And that is just how the industry is structured, and it's completely fine. But in a way, I want to give more attention to the writer in me. I feel like I really love that writer, and I want to give her the time and the space to build her craft.
You enjoyed the most, and you feel you're the best. You're the best at that in comparison to directing and acting. It's your thing.
I think it could be my thing. Again, you know, the overthinker, the perfectionist. I'm never going to say I'm there because I'm still learning and because I want to give it more attention and more care.
So the show doesn't have a slogan, but if it did have one under that, it would be own your narrative. And I think that's something that we needed to do for the longest time.
Yeah.
Did you on some level feel that you wanted to own your narrative?
Big time.
And like lightning struck, there was no industry. And then 2016, you had your shot. Did you getting involved in the acting world, was that an effort to fill the gap in the market that you took it incumbent upon yourself to do so? Saudi female actresses didn't exist. There might have been one or two before you, but did you want to contribute to that empty seat per se?
Yeah, as you said, I don't think there was a gap. I think it was just not there. Like there wasn't a space for it. So yes, what brought me into it was owning the narrative. I was a fresh graduate from the US. I came back to Saudi and I felt that I want to do anything to bring light to these beautiful humans that I live with, that I am part of, and that I adore, and that I am back for. But a part of me wanted to stay in the US to keep telling them that we are not weirdos, you know? And there was this struggle between, do you stay and change the narrative there, or do you come back and be the change you want to see, right? And bring more of it, you know, just try to prove to others that you're not the only one that is different and that is unique, that there are thousands and millions of beautiful humans that live in this country and that you want to bring light to them. And in a way, Barakah was just like the entry point. It was like a needle. And I remember we stood on stages of thousands of people, foreigners mostly. And their questions were, is this true representation of your lives in Saudi Arabia? Is this a true representation of women back home? No, let Fatima speak, because I was the only woman, right? Barakah Meets Barakah, and the director was a male. And it was always that narrative. And we were all witnesses of it. And we were very young and very, like, pure, you know?
And you guys went to some film festivals.
We went to big film festivals.
Berlin, Sundance.
Berlin, Toronto.
We
went to Florence. We went to Mexico. We went to Cairo. We went to beautiful cities, and we met thousands of people that were also curious and thirsty to know more about, you know, our country, more about us. And then it was Saudi's submission to the Oscars. And that was like, that was a pat on the shoulder. That was everything.
Groundbreaking.
That was your country being like, bravo, kiddos.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was just an initiative. You initiate something and you go full force to make it what you want it to be. And I think Barakah has its very unique spot in my heart because of these reasons. Not because it's the greatest blockbuster, not because it's the greatest cinema, not because of all these technical matters, but because of the emotional package that it carried with it, my aspirations as a young adult, as a young Saudi woman who had just traveled back to her country only to make a film, shoot a film, travel back to the world to show them, hey, I've been away for 2 months, but here you go. This is my little contribution, you know? And all of a sudden, you know, there's Barakah Meets Barakah.
Yeah. I think Mahmoud, the director, told me, it's a 9-year-old memory. Forgive me if it's mistaken. Maybe you can corroborate.
Tell me.
It initially started off as a drama that eventually took on a life of its own and became a rom-com?
Yes.
How does that even happen? Is that normal in the filming industry?
So
can genres change?
So there's you. Okay, I don't want to speak on behalf of Mahmoud. I really admire, like, when a director envisions something for their film, right? But then also more so when you allow for your film to transform and become what the film needs to become. As it journeys, as it travels around festivals, that sometimes these repackagings could happen in distribution. And all of a sudden, everyone was calling it a rom-com. Saudi's rom-com, Saudi's rom-com. That sold better. That invited more audiences to watch it. That made a better marketing campaign for it, right? Than in comparison to the romantic comedy of Saudi Arabia, a coming-of-age film about a municipality worker and a fashionista. So not marketable. You know what I mean? So sometimes we have these great like packaging, models for what we want to bring to the world. But then we also have to mellow it down, especially with my background. And I believe also Mahmoud, we have this like academic writer background. And it's all very like proper. But بالعربي نقول شقي. You have to be a little bit like messy, naughty, disruptive, subculture. And yes, it's okay that you are doing a rom-com, even though it's not very,
Elegant?
Elegant.
Yeah.
Now I'm working on a rom-com, and it's so hard to make a rom-com. Since Mahmoud's rom-com, there hasn't been any rom-coms.
Testament to how difficult it is to create one.
Yeah, and testament to how uncomfortable it is, maybe.
Culturally.
Yeah. And so it was a courageous work, and it was what it is for when it happened. But then it was like a stepping stone for myself, honestly, towards myself. I remember right after that, I came back home and I wrote a blog post after Toronto Film Festival that I titled Spotlight Anxieties. And I didn't know whether that was a jet lag because of Toronto or it was my anxiety kicking in big time because of the exposure, because of the spotlight, because of the red carpets. Man, I've never imagined walking on a red carpet. Why would I ever imagine a red carpet with me walking on it? That never crossed my mind. I've always wanted to be on theater. I've always wanted to act. I've always wanted to create drama. But the red carpet was not part of it. So over there with the VIP service, and honestly, Toronto, one of the best festivals on this planet, they really treat you like you're a mega star.
Better than Berlin?
At least that feeling got to me. It was sunny September. These big GMC cars, black, completely covered.
You felt like you were her.
The plate of the car had VIP.
Oh.
He was like, what?
Yeah, A-list.
Excuse me?
A-list. Yeah.
And this was my first feature film.
Cool experience.
It was really cool. But then you like kind of admire them admiring you. And you're like, no, it's okay. Yeah. It's only my first feature. No big deal. But they really respect their craft. And all of a sudden, you also begin to understand, to respect the red carpet for what it is. It's a celebration of great effort and years of work on one single project. So when you're there, it's like, every second. Yes, I worked for this, as a team, everyone.
It feels good to be applauded.
Yeah.
For something that you put your sweat into.
Yes.
And I'm sure it was rocky. I'm sure it had days when people walked off set.
Oh my.
But
no, let me not bring that page. Let me not open that page there. But yes, of course, every set has its own turbulent times and people and energies. Remember, you bring humans together into one space and you tell them, okay, you're going to shoot this film in 50 days, in 30 days, and you're going to be together for that duration. Imagine the amount of work that you need to put on yourself first to be able to humanize the experience until the very end. Empathy, communication, lack of, not judging a lot, and all of these kind of, ethical elements that you want to bring about on your set. Yeah.
Was the film commission born right after that, 2017, 2018.
Yes. Ministry of Culture.
They
Actually,
established.
before that, yes, the commission, هيئة الأفلام.
Yeah,
And then it
yeah.
was
The
Wizard.
Film Commission under the
Yes.
Ministry of Culture.
Yes.
And from what I'm gathering today, the Film Commission looks for projects that can be shot in Saudi, and they, roll out the, no pun intended, red carpet for them, assist them with what they needed in an effort to create a space where movies can be shot in Saudi. Like Kandahar, for example. That was a big budget movie that was shot in Al-Ula.
Yeah.
Has things taken off with the Film Commission?
Big time.
Do you work with them at all?
Yes. I was actually just at in their booth in Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
So my company, they shared this this booth with 4 different companies from Saudi. And lucky enough, we were selected to partake in this last Cannes Film Festival. And their contributions, their efforts to build a very solid infrastructure for the industry. So it's no longer an initiative. It's no longer a one-time project. It's no longer these little, as I was talking about Barakah just moments ago, it's no longer that. It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's a whole entire, I don't know, it's like a country of its own, because in film, you're bringing people from every field, the lawyers that are specialized in cinema, the interior designers that are specialized in cinema, so they become art directors and production designers, and the actors that have once tried theater, but now they're training to become cinema actors, the directors that once shot ads and commercials are now shifting into drama and cinematic visions that are completely different, and they have their own kind of taste when it becomes cinematic. So in every realm and in every profession that you can think of, the film industry needs you. If you're a translator, you can do subtitles. If you're someone who has a tailoring shop, you make wardrobes, you make, clothing, or you're a stylist, we need you.
Yeah, furniture,
then you come to art. We need sound. If you're a musician, you're a sound engineer, we need you. Whatever you can think of a profession.
Camels. If you own like a herd of camels, maybe you need them in the backdrop.
Yes, of course. Anything. Your living room, we need your living room. We need your kitchen. We need your locations. We need your farm, your beach house. So all of a sudden, the Film Commission has enabled us as industry individuals and filmmakers to be trusted by the community. So one day when I go knock on the door and say, listen, we want to shoot this film in your apartment because it serves us in this specific location, everyone knows what a film location needs or entails. And that came about with the industrialization of film. And it became solid. And it nowadays has its own ecosystem because of this humongous, honestly, effort that is coming from the ministry and from the Film Commission.
Which is a one-stop shop. I think that's what we wanted to, you go there and whatever you need to get your movie off the ground, there is now an entity that will support you. This comes off the back of, for 35 years in Saudi, cameras were not allowed in public. To some degree. And it's just crazy how much that has changed now when there is this huge encouragement to shoot more. You did another project, the other story project shot in 2015. Did you really collect 5,000 anonymous handwritten stories from Jeddah, or did you exaggerate that number?
It's accurate. I wouldn't say 5,000 exact. Plus or minus. Yeah, plus or minus 5,000 stories.
Wow.
But in the duration between 2015 and 2018. So it wasn't like a 1 year.
Okay, 3 years.
Yeah.
Still a lot of work that you've. What was it about?
So this project was, I'll tell you. So when I started on the set of Barakah, I told you I was really, really drawn to changing the narrative, right? This was keeping me awake at night. That was my question. That was my calling. And so on the set of Barakah, I started the first story collection process. And I used to go around coffee shops, universities, public spaces, whatever that I can find an entry to, and literally put up a station. Prior to the station, it was just a little envelope, A4 papers, pens, and a little box so that we can drop in the papers once the people have written their stories. And I used to go around and encourage people to write their stories. Of course, there were piles and piles of defense mechanisms used against me. Like, I don't have a story. I need 10 pages. My story doesn't fit in one. I don't have any story. Or when I met, a lot of men used to say, like, she has the stories, like, on their wives or their sisters or their mothers or whatever, like the storyteller in the house. And I'm like, a kid into you have a story, and I'd be encouraging people to write their stories. And people often ask me, like, why did you do this? And I'm like, because I noticed that we weren't telling our stories. No one was really speaking. Like, we didn't have these gadgets and these spaces and status updates and whatever. It was very, like, short and brief. And on one page, you could write so much about you that others would never have expected that you would choose that story to tell on that day. And so the point was that they were anonymous, because I didn't want people, and this comes to your experience with your heart, I didn't want people to say, okay, this is Fatma's story, this is Muhammad's story. I know so much about Muhammad already, so I'm sure his story is about 1, 2, 3. Instead, when it's anonymous, the person is allowed or is given the platform to speak something that no one would expect that they would speak it or would say it or would write it. And all of a sudden, people broke out of their, like, routine and their frames and their packages and shelves. They put a different part of themselves out there in these 1 pages. The reason why it was handwritten was because I wanted you to maintain yourself. I wanted you to still be you, so it's only handwritten. Once you've typed your stories, all of us have the same Times New Roman or Calibri or whatever. And so we're all identical again. So yes, as much as I want you to be anonymous so I can connect with you on your story and not with your title or with your job position or with your family title or whatever, I want you to handwrite your story so that there is a little bit of you, your curved, tilted lines, your scribbles, the notes you keep on the margin, the mistakes you do along the lines, the perfectionist in you. Some people would use rulers, to make the lines before they handwrite. So it's very, very interesting how you bring you into your page. And I just collected stories this way. I used to go to, as I mentioned, whatever space I put my hands on and had access to, I would visit you, like in your studio here. I'd visit you one day, have a story collection stand, and then your team, whatever, they can write their stories and put them down. And it was kind of archival because I documented a time period in Jeddah specifically, and whoever visited Jeddah at the time between 2015 and 2018. And today it's my book. So I published the book in 2022. And between 2018 and 2022, I was doing performance art. So I used to weave in these stories that people had written into scripts. And I would travel around the world to tell them. It used to be very raw, very unscripted, scripted.
Real.
Very real. People used to do certain things after the performance ended, like call up their family or their friend and make these like, hey, forgive me, like, hey, I miss you. You know, there was change. There was like immediate change that happened after the performances. And I loved that part. And it was so contrary to my work in cinema. And I think that's why I continued working with it. And in a way, it gave me a push in my work in cinema. So because they were parallel to one another, I was working as an actor, but I was also collecting stories and doing performances. And that kind of fed into the energy I needed on set. Be real, just be real. People are writing everything on goddamn earth. Like, people are living life. If the script is flat, if the character is 2D, if you find an obstacle, bring some realism from the stories that you're reading into this world. And in a way, there was this immediate connection between the two worlds that I was part of. And it fed into it very nicely. It was a perfect match in a way. And yeah, then in 2022, I published the book, and it's like a little memoir between myself and my late grandfather, Allah yarham. Because, you know, storytelling, who taught you to tell stories? Mostly a parent or a grandfather or a grandmother.
I think you give people a space to be seen and heard, even if you didn't publish it, you know, them taking it out of here and putting it on paper, submitting it anonymously. It does something to the soul. It's a form of therapy on some level.
Very therapeutic. Like the stories I can tell you about the other story. Like there was this guy, I remember I saw him in Loud Art. And he came to me and he's like, "Ish bitawi, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm collecting stories." You know, he's a very traditional man with his shemagh and his stove and a pen. And I was like, you know, I'm collecting stories. And I looked like a joke. You know, I had this like envelope, papers, pens. I was a Harvard grad. I had a degree in what I was doing, but it didn't look like I had a degree. It looked like I was a kid, you know, like selling lemonade. But yes, the kid selling lemonade has the best lemonade in town. You know what? And so he stood in front of me and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You know, collecting stories because they connect us to one another and whatever." And I was really convinced, honestly. I still am. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll support you. Let me just do this. Bin jidda, you know. He took this paper and he's like, very like kind of monotonous, whatever. And then all of a sudden he looks at me and he's like, "Allah yahdiki, Allah yahdiki." And he doesn't have space in his story to...
He's just going all out.
He's going all around. And then he drops his story and he's like,
"You opened up Pandora's box."
Yes. He's like, "Shukran. أنا ما عمري كنت متخيل إنه this would be the result." And stories like this, so many, like with regards to grief, with regards to helplessness, with regards to hope, with regards to career shifts, with regards to questions about, we started off the conversation with parents, with decisions, with, you know, questions you have about your life, about your career, how good you are. Everything was part of this story collection. People just wrote their ideas. And funny enough, in a way, not really surprising, is that there were patterns. People wrote about the same things. So, in a way, this one time I went to Paris for a performance in Palais de Tokyo. I had a big performance over there. And I remember a lot of the curators of the festival wanted a certain, or expected a certain performance from the Saudi woman collecting stories, and, you know, from Jeddah. You know, there was a certain theme they expected me to bring to the surface. And I was like, but these themes don't exist in my story collection. Like, I don't have these stories that you're looking for. These stories you can find in the media. Like, really, like, open any news channel and this is exactly what you will hear. But honestly, when I went for 4 whole years collecting stories from the street, straight off the pens and the fingertips of those people, no one really wrote about what you're talking about. People were just talking about, hey, when I lost my grandmother, hey, when I traveled to whatever, Mexico City, hey, when I failed my exam, hey, when my station, my work, my job got burnt, I don't know what, they're just universal stories. And I was like, Saudi stories are universal stories, so stop alienating us like we're unique creatures that have nothing to do but like think about how my father had constricted me or restricted me, right? And that was the game changer. That was the change of the narrative, you know? When I stood there reciting the performances with elderlies and young ones, and you know, in public spaces, you bring everyone. So there's like a 70-year-old, a 17-year-old, and like a 7-year-old. And they're all looking at your eyes. And in Paris, I was speaking Arabic and French. And when I did the Arabic segment, it was like they understood me. And I was like, language is just a medium. But we are the conversation. Our bodies, our eyes, our features, you know, the way you raise your brows, the way you know, your
Energy.
shoulders, your energy, the proximity you have with them, the closer you come. And as I told you, tears, hugging, embrace, pure connection was euphoric. Those were the times.
I love what Netflix did with making the world so much smaller through cinema.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, Parasite is a movie that comes to mind. You know, I think it won Best Picture. I'm watching movies from Denmark. There was an excellent one from Norway called July something. It was a thriller, my favorite genre.
Okay.
Of some heist. So my point is that through cinema and the launch of, I think Netflix are probably leading the charge in the globalization of the film industry, where, I mean, you know, you can watch anything from anywhere and it's subtitled. And I have to mention the Spanish. There's a movie, I'm sure you know it, The Invisible Guest.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
That could be like my second favorite movie of all time, after The Count of Monte Cristo, of course. But you're right. You know, when it comes down to it, we're not too dissimilar. Okay, language separates us, but there's a reason why so many people watch movies in other languages, because it's their body language, it's their energy, as you said, the way they raise their eyebrows. And I think there's more unity maybe than ever before, because 50 years ago, we're not watching movies from Bollywood. 50 years ago, nobody's watching Barakah or Wajda or anything that came out of Saudi. And I think that's something to be mentioned over there.
Yeah, I think globalization is big, and it's where we are today. I mean, when I think about generations, I think about a 12-year-old here is probably more similar than a 12-year-old in anywhere in the world than she is to a 40-year-old in the same country.
Good one.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, ask a 12-year-old anywhere around the world about the same concepts, same music, same songs, same films, and they'll all give you the same responses. Ask a 40-year-old from the same country where the 12-year-old came from, she'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so globalization is something that is evident that it contributes to societies, but it also dilutes some of the specific uniquenesses about a society. So as much as it is a contribution, and it is an addition and a benefit to the world, because you connect more and you watch each other's works and all of that. But there is a uniqueness about your, you know, heritage and self and language that you want to maintain. And I find this a lot in, you know, the younger generation, like, how similar are they to us as older generations than they are to other countries? I love it. I envy them sometimes. And then I'm like, but I want to instill some of the good things about our culture too, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing about films, is that you can always bring in your culture in your films, and then the younger generations would always feed off and learn about their culture, but like through a medium that is attractive to them, that is cool. Because, look, the more you grow, the more I've come to terms that I'm becoming less cool. I mean, I can never be ultimately cool until I'm 100 years old to a younger generation, right? So at home, like, I'm the auntie, and like, even if you're the cool auntie, you're still the auntie, you know, you still have a package.
We're there. We're there now.
We've arrived,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And so it's nice to make films, and it's nice to utilize these platforms, and the platforms support system is huge when it comes to these little contributions to how we can continue bringing ourselves into the picture. You know,
you reminded me of K-pop. I didn't know who the hell K-pop was till 2 years ago.
Me too.
But any country in the world, to some degree, they'd sell out a concert with the average age being 16.
Yeah.
I think maybe even in places like South America. I would bet that in a place like Buenos Aires, if K-pop went, they'd sell 50,000-60,000 stadium, with the Argentinians dominating those in attendance. I think that's how global we've become, and I'm serious. Like, I don't take pride in saying this. I didn't know who K-pop was till a year and a half ago.
Same here.
So it's a very interesting point you make. How
actually, oh my, so yes, I'll tell you what, a story. So in 2018, I went on this Time magazine as young generation leader, okay? Last year, I went to a soccer game here in Jeddah, and there was Pepe, the soccer player.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Is he called Pepe?
Yeah, but the one that's coming to mind is someone who retired 10 years ago.
No, the French guy. He's like young. Now he doesn't work. He used to play in Paris Saint-Germain, and now he's
Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe.
Yes.
He used to play for Real Madrid. Now he's at PSG. Sorry, wrong way around. He used to be at PSG, now at Real Madrid.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pepe was way off.
Okay.
Mbappe. Sorry.
Mbappe.
Yeah.
Is it more Spanish or more French?
I don't know what it is, but it's
Mbappe.
Mbappe. Exactly.
Okay.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Say it one more time.
Mbappe.
Perfect.
Okay. I don't know if it's like a thin line between Spanish and French.
You're making it Italian.
I feel like it's more Italian now. Okay, I'm sorry, Mbappe, but this story was intended with a different purpose in respect to your
took on a life
character.
of its own. Okay.
So basically, I went to this game and he was playing. And so I come back home to prove, obviously, all my family, they were making fun of me because they didn't expect that I would know him, right? And I was like, no, I know him. Because, I'm not really a big soccer, football kind of person. And so they're like, Akid, you don't know him. I'm like, no, I really do. I was on the magazine cover. He was on the magazine cover when I appeared in one of the pages of the magazine. So I know him. And then he was in Paris Saint-Germain, and I attended one of his games, and in the World Cup he won, and I was in Paris. I walked the Champs-Élysées, and I was trying to prove it for them. And on that page there was K-pop. I was clueless to who they were at the time, and so I was like, yeah. And there's this Korean group, and they were like, this is K-pop, and I'm like, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, who? And they're like, this is K-pop. Like, okay, so they forgot the whole story about Mbappe. And all of a sudden, I became another failure for not knowing K-pop at the moment of me trying to convince them that I know, I'm cool, I'm aware, I'm knowledgeable.
Landmines everywhere.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, I'll never try to prove anything again. But yeah, Khalas, I told you, I'm coming to terms with me not being
You were doing so well until K-pop came into the picture.
Yeah, and they were just there, and I was like, okay, yeah, K-pop.
Taib, you have a company today. Am I right in recalling that it's called Alwad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit about the name. How did you come up with it?
Okay. So the naming, a little bit of a thought went into the naming of Alwad, and I think we landed the name because I was trying to find something that is connected to me as a person, to my story, to my values, to how I started learning about stories and who was the first person who told me stories. And, I'm very deeply connected to my grandfathers, as the other story shows you, in one arm and then in the other, or in one hand, and then in the other hand, there is my other grandfather, Fuad. So the other story project was written in memory of my late grandfather, Allah yarhamu, and Al Fuad was titled or named after Fuad, my grandfather. And the story, or the origin of the word Fuad, first of all, Fuad in Arabic means the heart. It's the closest word that would mean the heart, Al Fuad, right? And it comes in the Quran a couple of times, many times actually. One of the words that kept reoccurring, Al Fuad, Al Fuad, Al Fuad, more than even the heart, Al Qalb. And the root of the word, when I was doing my research, I found that it was 1,000 valleys, Al Fuwadin. So there are 1,000 valleys that lead to the heart. And I found that very new to begin with, because, sometimes you just like say something and you say, wasal qalbi, like you reached the heart, you've reached me, right? When you watch something, when you hear a story, you say, it reached me, it resonated with me, it impacted me, it touched me. And I didn't think, but there were 1,000 valleys that could do that to you. There's not only one valley that could touch the heart. There's my story, your story, all of our stories could reach the heart. And I was like, okay, if I want to make a production company, I wanted to carve 1,000 valleys that could reach the heart eventually, and not have like one stagnant form of storytelling. We can reach the heart in multiple ways, in thousands of ways.
That's way deeper than I thought it would be. I mean, that's really thought through. It's very touching. It touched me. Like it's a lot of thought and purpose and energy went into the name.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's deep. That's what I'm trying to get at.
It's a conversation opener too. So it's funny, like a lot of people are curious. They're like, Al Fuad. And then, Wad means kind of like boy, like a young boy.
Yeah, that's where my mind went.
Yeah, and they're like, why are you calling your
1,000 boys? Yeah.
I'm like, no, look, like,
that's
yes, I want to sell.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sell my soul. I want to sell, but, it's a conversation opener. So let's talk about the name. And that's how, a lot of the conversations begin with even Arabic speakers, mostly Arabic speakers, actually. They come in with like, ليش Al Fuad? And I'm like, خليني أشرح.
It's an icebreaker.
Yeah.
How has the Red Sea Film Festival contributed to the local industry, let's say? Has it helped? Is it it comes and it goes with no lasting effects, or has it uplifted the industry in some capacity? Because when it's on, Fatima, the town is buzzing.
Yeah.
Like buzzing, like Formula One.
صح.
And Benali. Well, we have 3 nice events in Jeddah. Yeah. Where do you stand on the Red Sea? What are they doing good? What can they improve on? How do you feel about it?
I love the Red Sea Film Festival. I've admired it since it was an idea, a concept. And I try every year to make use of that idea, to make use of that foundation, to have it serve us as creators and filmmakers, and have us benefit it as well. Bring our narratives, our stories, our everything, who we are, into that place, whether it's during the festival or off season as it continues to function, because all year long you have the funds, you have the lodge, you have the different umbrellas that come under the big foundation. And I think this is the power of any festival, because the glam is during the festival, right? It's like as you said, the talk of the town. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's excited. Everyone's like all glammed up for it and ready and excited for it. But the benefit of it for filmmakers is all year round. And I think, as I mentioned, the different umbrellas that it has or that it carries under it make great impact. They recognize people, they recognize talents, they support them, they fund them, they teach them, they train them. And again, it's one of these ecosystems, as we were talking about with the Film Commission. There are similar entities to that have emerged and unfolded in Saudi in a very strong, powerful manner, and that are continuations, or let's say arms and branches to the same vision. Like, Neom, Al-Ula, the different, even Ithra, the Saudi Film Commission, a lot of different initiatives and foundations are unfolding, and they're allowing for others to copycat. And I love that, honestly. Think about it. In New York, you walk down one alley, there are like 5 production houses. There are 60 theater companies. It's not competition. It's creativity. People are creative, so you make your company and you start the energy, the engines of this creative power.
Yeah.
And I love that competition. It serves us all. It's an ecosystem. You can't have an ecosystem of one item, right? It's a whole table. It's a dining hall.
It's maturity as well. I think it's a maturity of the market. It's a flex when you see multiple institutions.
Yeah, I was really encouraged to open my own company, actually, because when I was shooting Basma, my directorial debut, I was also, as a production house, I was expected to receive funds, right, and support, and it ended up being a Netflix original. And to be able to do that, you have to have a company. And that was kind of like how the story started with my company. I needed to have a CR. I needed to have a commercial registration. I had a studio. I functioned as a creative entity, but the company necessity only surfaced as I matured, as I developed, and as these systems and ecosystems around me required me to place that and khalas, take the step of, okay, done deal, I have a company, So they encourage you to do the best and to continue developing.
Is the space lucrative for those who want to pursue a career in it? How difficult is it to make a good living from the world of acting in our region?
And Riyadh or in Jeddah?
You answer the question.
Look.
More opportunities in the capital?
Definitely. But no question there. No comment, as they say.
But that's with many things across the board. Like Riyadh is where the action is. Riyadh are where the checks are cut.
Yeah, and I like that. The capital needs to be that. It's good.
You look at Paris, you look at London,
It's healthy. And when I chose to open my company here, it was like a boutique kind of like entity of what's happening in Riyadh. It's in comparison to anything happening there, because everything, mashallah, there is like very grand, very, prestigious, very high end. But here I function more on a community level, and I really trust my community. I really trust that they will leave the door only to come back tomorrow through the same door, right? And I want them to do that. I want the community to leave and come back. I want my productions to be made and crafted by the community that I'm growing. And I think it's because when I was younger, I didn't have that community of filmmakers, of actors, of directors, of writers. We're very blessed. The younger ones nowadays don't even have any reference to how it felt prior to having what they have today.
Yeah.
But we do. And it doesn't make me unhappy. It makes me very happy to have that pre and post. And you feel real happiness when you've tried sadness.
Of course.
You feel ecstatic when you've tried lazy. And
imagine if everything worked out for you and you've never had to go through hell.
Yeah. So I feel very blessed for where I am today and very blessed for where I was.
Yeah.
Very incredibly. When I speak about the past, I am on my tippy toes of excitement. It's like the child in me, the energetic, raw, pure kind of soul of creative person. And now, yes, I put that into service. Therefore, yes, I look more organized. But it's really because I feel like every person, maybe I feel this towards myself, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be applied on every person, but I feel that the films I have grown watching were had a lot of children as stars. And none of them were Arabic films. I mean, maybe at some point I started watching Egyptian films, but a lot of the films had, female, male protagonists. And they told very, very great stories.
Can you recall any films?
Yeah, like one of them, My Dog Skip. I used to watch this with my younger brother and my father.
Remember My Girl?
I remember My Girl.
This
is one of my
I can't
favorites.
watch it today because it scarred me. I didn't know it scarred me until I just on Instagram someone was saying that movie really messed us up, and I was like, oh my God, it messed me up too.
My Girl. There's My Dog Skip as well, by the way. Like I remember my younger brother used to cry endlessly towards the end, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but like it's one of these films, and it has the male lead is not even maybe 10 years or something of that sort. There's also Pay It Forward, also a lead of 11 years old, I believe. And I remember watching Pay It Forward and actually taking the Pay It Forward system of operation that his teacher had taught him. And I applied it in my community in Jeddah, like in my family. I used to be like asking people to do what I watched on TV. I used to put rewind and repeat the entire film from the very beginning, watch it again for like 9 times on repeat. I used to recite the words with all the characters. My Dog Skip, My Girl, Matilda, all Mary-Kate and Ashley's films, obviously. Like, I thought I was their triplet until I noticed they actually had a bigger sister, Elizabeth, which was amazing. And what surprised me, or what made me come to this awareness and this need to focus on children nowadays and fostering a community of values in film is what happens to young actors. Where are they? The more famous you become, the more centered you have to eventually, you think of yourself a lot. What's best for you? What am I going to wear? Where am I going to travel? The tickets, you, which is great because you're a brand. You're like a company, which is amazing. So you're doing everything for the benefit of this company. But then imagine that you're removing the greatness of passing on your knowledge to others, younger ones. And I think this is the motive I have nowadays. It's just to be like, okay, yeah, amazing. Fame is great. But I don't know, like maybe my dad used to teach me this. He used to say, teaching is learning twice. And I want to die learning. Want to continue learning until the last breath. Because it is learning twice. And when you teach, there's a spark not only in the teacher's eyes, but in the student's eyes and the learner's eyes. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful chemistry, beautiful bond. I learned this from storytelling. I learned how storytelling really enables a deep connection between people. And as filmmakers, that's what we do.
It's a beautiful art.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand? There is a specific actor's death that has troubled me. And this person made us all laugh.
Robert Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how someone who's so giddy and so happy and, brought so much excitement to our lives lived a completely different life behind when the cameras were off. That's
Yeah.
it. Where and this is becoming a little synonymous, depression and lonely at the top. And, you have this facade on when you're acting, but deep down you are hurting.
Yeah.
Where does this all stem from, do you think, in Robin's case?
I don't know if the word depression is the word I should use, but I think sometimes this also is a player because it dilutes the fact that you might have depression.
When you say this, you reach
The device.
to your phone, yeah, for those listening on audio. But
yeah.
what specific part of the device, because our whole life is in this.
Exactly.
So what specific part of the device were you alluding to?
It's escape.
Escapism.
It's not being present.
Social media.
Social media mostly, yeah. I mean, everything on your phone is, think about it, how many items on your phone are not social media, relatively speaking. A lot of it is social media.
Yeah, the last thing it is a phone. It's just not, it's
when you
anything
dial
but
up someone's number, like when was the last time you actually dialed up someone's number and not called up Siri or ChatGPT or whatever and said, hey, dial up mama's number, dial up sister's number.
Do you remember, do you know anyone's number by heart?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Mostly my friends from school.
Really? You still remember it?
Yeah. Because, telephone البيت.
Yeah, like maybe your grandmother's house number.
Get up and you're like,
yeah.
I'm going to say all the numbers now.
I think I forgot all mine.
Yeah.
But I think it was Naval who said in 2010 when the iPhone was born, boredom was dead.
Yeah. You don't feel boredom. And we were just saying, when you feel sad, you feel happy. You are able to feel happy. When you're not even aware of your boredom, you don't have the capacity to feel bored. Boredom is not a part of your equation or of your life.
And you're missing something there because we need to feel that sensation.
Yeah.
For our, nervous system, for our chemical balance.
Yes, I think so. I think humans across times had hunting hours and then they had lazy, laid back, couch potato hours, right?
Hunter-gatherer days, yeah.
So we evolved, yes, and we will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
But life is balanced and دايما مش يقول لك ربع للأكل ربع للنفس ربع للشو. There's always these calculations for a reason, I feel. Even our body, it's not all fluid, it's not all muscle, it's not all bone. Everything, our brain, it's not all one piece, it's right, it's left, it's everything. There is balance in everything that we acquire or are made of. And so when we resort to one source as a matter of fact and we are not balancing it out with any other external source or contributing to it, it's like our brain is only activated from one bit of it. So all the other bits are not working. It's like only one finger is working, but all my other fingers are not. It's only one muscle that is working, but all my other muscles are not working. So what happens to our bodies? I was hearing that there are some, this finger will create a bone at some point. I started to feel it now. Because of the way you hold it, because of the way you put, your phone on your.
Oh yeah. This the
you rest
support.
your phone on your finger for support, and so yes, this is change, and it's fine. We were speaking about change being inevitable. We will all change, and it's fine. But do we all have to change depressed and not bored, and
like nobody reads anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've probably read 10% of the books behind me. 90% are decorative. I want to start chipping away at it. I'm calling myself out.
Yeah.
And by the way, you really struck something in my mind when you said balance. I think it is like the key theme of the way I want to carry myself in this day and age right now, at least for the next year. am I doing things in balance? Whatever it is. Like me and the guys were off to Japan in 5 days, and we were looking at hotels for a night in Tokyo.
Nice.
And we're like, okay, should we stay at one of the fancy ones? I was like, no, we don't want to spend $1,000 a night. There was one for 100. I'm like, let's get something in the middle,
Nice.
balance. Food. Did I overeat today? Coffee a day. Don't have that second one.
Yeah.
I think when I hit 40, I realized the importance of balance, which is something you don't think twice about when you're in your 20s.
That's true.
You
You sparked something in my mind about speaking of balance and how, maybe tell me from a male perspective, but us women, we went through an imbalanced struggle to find balance. Because at some point, everyone wanted us to become good mothers, good wives, and all of that narrative. And then all of a sudden, everyone wanted us to change and become workaholics and yalla, everyone to the workforce. And then everyone started writing books about, you're not going to be able to balance being a perfect woman and a perfect working woman. So don't find perfectionism and finding the balance. And then all of a sudden, everyone's talking about, no, actually, this recipe doesn't work. And there's always this constant call to find balance through a repackage. It's like all of a sudden, I want you to be this. And then, sorry, I misled you. You can't be this, actually. It's far away from your expectation or from being feasible. So let's change the game. Now you need to be 24/7, only work. Sorry, you can't do this. You're gonna...
Who's saying this?
A lot of books, a lot of subculture, a lot of...
Societal expectations?
Societal expectations.
Screw them.
And it's very interesting because I meet, speaking of balance again, I meet myself and other women who at a phase of their lives have stayed, in their jobs without thinking about their family life or their, motherhood, their wifehood or daughterhood or whatever. And then all of a sudden you see the opposite and you're being judged and critiqued constantly. But in a way, this should I call it struggle for balance, or I don't know if it's a struggle for balance or it's again judging others into a new mold or a new shape or a new design every once in a while. Just because the economy is changing or just because there are certain things opening up, we're changing the entire ecosystem of these individuals or this population. You know what I mean? And I think true balance is just what you want.
That's it.
What you desire.
That's all that should matter. Reinvent yourself. No problem. I reinvented myself 5 years ago. But I don't think you should be listening to anyone about what you should and should not do. And I think females have it way harder.
Yeah.
Way harder than men.
I believe so.
This might not be a popular opinion to maybe some of the males watching. But for reasons I don't want to get into, women have it harder than men.
Yeah, I believe they do. Honestly, without a question, I believe they do. And even if the men are a little bit upset, it's okay. You can sleep on it. You can.
You come to terms with it eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
When you see what your wife has to go through, like for those men who are like, yeah, Mo, you're talking out of where. When eventually when you get married, inshallah, and you see what your wife has to go through with the kids and just running the household.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to do your 9 to 6 or 9 to 5, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But they're doing a job they're not getting paid for, in addition to the job that they're getting paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, when my wife leaves for a couple of days, I thought the podcast was hard. Running the household was way hard. Way hard.
Yeah.
So you'll have value for what the females in your life would do. Eventually, when you live with one, you will see and your perception will change.
I believe so.
Why theology? And bravo going to Harvard. MashaAllah. Well, why specifically theology?
Again, women.
Elaborate, please.
Mostly women, yeah. Women were in the spotlight for the longest of time. And what was it? I was studying psychology in college here in Jeddah. And I was very fond of community psychology, social psychology, women's psychology. It brought to my attention concepts that I was very drawn to, and some of the things that we were always discussing in my household, you know, how things happen, how culture unfolds, what is culture. We're a little geeky in my household, so we discuss these matters like on a cup, of tea, afternoon tea or some sort of family discussions. And at the time, it was mostly, speaking of people and expectations and what is being told and what is being said and what is being fed, I was always taken to لا هو كده. It's like that.
Don't challenge it.
خلاص. This is it. This is it for you. This is how it is.
I hate that.
Because it was how it was, right? I was just saying, like, nowadays I meet girls, they're working 24/7. And I'm like, do you see your family? Just, no, I haven't seen them in 7 months. I'm like, why? Who's telling you to be this? But again, I don't want to be like the people that were telling me 7 years ago not to work and not to do this, and this is what it is, and this is a matter of fact. So I don't want to, stress on any form of balance at the time, honestly. Let the person figure it out for themselves and they'll find the balance. But to me, finding the balance was a woman in religion and women in society. Their role, the way we represented them in the media specifically, the way cinema depicted us on the big screen, what we wore, how we dressed, how we spoke, what we spoke.
Scrutiny.
Everything. I was always feeling like, is there any other version, please, that I can be introduced to on the big screen, or is it only this, What we were given was a very specific form of woman. And yes, they exist, and voila, amazing. I love these women, but this is not the only form. And so when I went to Harvard to study, it was under Layla Ahmed's supervision. Professor Layla Ahmed is a beautiful source of knowledge and inspiration. And when I visited Harvard for the first time, I never knew that I was going to get admitted or anything. I sent an email to her and she gave me a 15-minute slot. So I was like, what? I was in Casper and Gambini's. This was like 10 years ago. What? More than 10 years ago. And I was like, I'm going to Harvard. I'm not going to Harvard. I'm just having 15 minutes with Layla Ahmed. Like, what are you saying? You're celebrating a non-event. And so I met her and I spoke to her a little bit about my background and what I did and my aspirations and all that. And she said, okay, apply. And so I did. I was already on the scholarship to another city with another major. And I was like, I don't want to curse on camera, but no way, Jose, I'm not doing this, I ain't doing that one. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come back to this professor because she's, as I said, a great source of inspiration and knowledge and stories, mostly stories. And so I applied, and that delayed my master's with 1 year. But it was great because, eventually I did get accepted and I did have her as my supervisor. And I learned storytelling in her classes. And I learned that you can spend 3 hours at Harvard University not doing anything but analyzing stories and you leave that class having learned so much more about the world, about you, about the most complex themes on planet Earth through a pile of books like those on the shelf. And it was through her supervision, through her guidance, that I was aware of the importance of storytelling. After graduating, I visited her in the office, and I was, leaving and just going back home. And I asked her, I have a couple of job offers, and, I don't know which one to choose, and, student life. And she was like, okay, great. You're very privileged to be getting these offers, because a lot of students, they graduate from Harvard and they don't necessarily have job offers on the table. So you're from a country that is very privileged, that is making you a very lucky graduate to have secured a job offer, multiple job offers.
Upon graduation.
Yeah. Voila, amazing. However, now that you've secured those, go back to your country and carve something that isn't there.
Great advice.
Do something that isn't already there. Bring your print, bring your contribution. I didn't know, honestly, what was my print, what was my contribution. All I knew that I was going back home with a lot of love for storytelling, and not the bedtime stories of like ست خواريف أمها. I mean, I love that story. My mom used to tell it to me all the time. But no, not that one. The stories that bring us to the table today. The stories that really do change narratives. The stories that break narratives, that surprise, that make people go astonished. These are the type of stories that we want to continue telling. And yes, mundane stories, amazing. Normal stories, even better. Because at the very beginning, you start with people's speculations and astonishment and eyes wide open, right? But whatever starts with that eventually becomes normal. Even when you started the conversation with talking about people's reactions about me acting in 2015. How many girls are acting today?
A lot more.
I don't know anyone who's not acting today. Everyone's acting. Everyone's encouraged to act. Everyone's supported, pushed to act and to pursue this field. And so, yes, some things are uncomfortable at the very beginning, but they feel only normal when you begin to do it. When you begin to just pursue them. Yeah.
What advice are you glad that you never listened to?
The first ad I've ever contributed to was a voiceover. And it was a campaign titled, "What Will They Say About You?" I swear to God.
The irony.
And I still have the t-shirt. It says, "إيش حيقولوا عنك?" And my grandfather always asks me, "إيش مكتوب?" He's always very curious. He's like, what does your t-shirt have? And I'm like, "جدو إيش حيقولوا عني?" And he's like, "إيش حيقولوا عنك?" And I'm like, "Inshallah يقولوا خير." Inshallah they say something good. Inshallah, this is what you hope. This is what you work towards.
Yeah.
But then people will always have something to say about you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes it's a reflection of themselves.
Yeah, most of the times.
So let it be, because you're learning more about them than maybe they are about you. Whatever we speak, whatever we utter, whatever that comes out of our mouths is a reflection of who we are. The way we say what we say is a reflection of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I can criticize you. Yes, I can come and speak to you about something uncomfortable that I did, but there is a way, You're laughing.
I'm laughing because it just reminded me of something for those who are reluctant to practice their craft and put their work out there out of fear of how they will be judged by the general public.
Yeah.
I want to say to them that the only thing worse than people talking about you is people not talking about you. attention is the global currency. How much attention can you demand? That's really what everyone is fighting for in the world of film, in the world of content creation, in the world of any art.
Yeah.
I mean, you get paid by eyeballs or ears or so think about that next time you're worried about what will people say about you. That means people are talking about you. And the only thing worse than that is nobody talking about you. So just remember that next time you're worried about, and you're never going to make everyone happy, right? Tale as old as time. What makes you feel most alive?
Doing something to the fullest.
In whatever capacity that is.
In anything. Being silly to the fullest. Being with my family to the fullest. Being with my friends and laughing my lungs out to the fullest. Being an actor to the fullest. Writing an amazing scene and these characters, I can hear them in my ears to the fullest. Being able to be to the fullest. I think nowadays that's a privilege because distractions are everywhere.
Oh my God, yes.
And so I feel like I am most happy when I can be to the fullest, when I can just experience something to the ultimate max. Because that moment is only there that moment.
True.
After that, it's gone. You know? Like, yeah, I think that makes me the happiest.
For me, it's this. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm away from my phone. And I said it multiple times. It's the only thing keeping me sane today when I have these conversations, which typically run an hour and a bit. I think so far we've been recording for an hour and 57 minutes.
Oh mon Dieu! Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
It's
really? 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah. See, that's what we do at the Mo Show podcast. You know, you don't feel like you're having conversation because time flies.
Oh my God.
But honestly, when I'm away from my phone, which is what I'm doing when I'm having these conversations, it is the time where I'm most happy, most engaged, and I'm back into like the 90s era where you're having real connection.
Yeah.
I saw a post on Instagram, ironically, of what 5 minutes of Instagram scrolling does to your brain. Just 5 minutes in terms of a drop in dopamine and a spike in hints of depression.
Yeah.
Something small like, you know, your friend of yours had a gathering and you saw who was there and you weren't invited.
Yeah.
That can affect people for weeks and months. Or seeing someone on a beach in Seychelles. You know, okay, it's nice, but you're not there. So again, there's a negative thing that can come off it. But human interaction, I think, is an anomaly. And I was telling the guys today, listen, you know, we have a presentation that we need to work on. So we need to silence our phones and flip it, or else we're not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
Because it's a hole that'll just drag you into.
Yeah.
I
think, yeah, if you're aware of these distractions and you know how to control them, then you're good.
Have you let go of any dreams?
I can never answer that question now because you never know. Because what I've been learning is that dots are all connected. And one day you would assume that you've let go of a dream and then it resurfaces in front of you in the most majestic way.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? I just thought that I passed this, that I just let it go, that I left it behind. But no, you didn't. If you're connected to it, it will come after you. I really believe this.
I think manifestation is real.
Yeah. If you're thinking about it, if you're even between yourself and your voice, a thin line there is thinking or speaking or praying for it, it's going to come and find you.
I think it was Rumi who said, what you're seeking is seeking you.
Yeah. Definitely.
How hard do you want it? I think humans are, if only humans knew how capable they can be if they put their minds to something. The world will be a different place. If you want something and if you obsess over it, if you want it as bad as anything you've ever wanted, you'd shock yourself what you'd be capable of doing just by putting in the effort.
Great things happen when you put the effort.
Yeah.
Without the distraction. And that's why sometimes the distractions are there.
Yeah.
So that you don't make or create great things. But if you're capable of putting an alarm clock, having a schedule, dedicating time, managing your time and your effort, finding the good balance that serves you, not that serves the universe, then you will make great change. And it doesn't come overnight.
No.
It comes on very slow heat and very steady slow heat. But then all of a sudden, boom, it's there.
Yep.
And everyone's celebrating as if you weren't working for 10 years.
Yep.
As if the 10 years no one's seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see it. You know it. You know that great change doesn't come overnight.
No. I mean, nothing good comes overnight.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But you got to put in the work. And I think the real magic, more often than not, lies in the work that you're avoiding.
Yeah.
We'll close with this one. How do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
This one's a funny one. A funny one because it's like I'm asking the question in my head, right? And I'm responding to my own questions. It's a funny one because I see myself after I'm gone, and it's like I'm running around like checking lists, checking off items.
Do you think
and
about
the space?
I said this is going to be the last question, but you took me in another direction, and I'm going to throw this at you because it's not too far distant from the question itself. Do you think about, or do you worry about your mortality?
My mortality?
Death.
I worry about it because my list is long, but I know I am going.
No, we all are.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes I want to go happy. I want to go when I've appreciated the moments that I worked for and the good times, as I told you, the good points in my life or the good moments in my life that I enjoyed it to the fullest, that I tried it to the fullest, that I put effort to the fullest. And then I feel like this was just a passing route. And nothing else. It is what it is. We all know it, but try to make believe that it is not. It is greater, it is gooder. But it is just here to leave, just here to go, just here to pass. And I don't want to leave on this note. What is this? Very dark and gloomy. But
we'll put a positive spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing, right? Life, death, sadness, happiness, da-da-da.
How about this? I heard it recently said on a podcast, nothing really matters.
Yeah. What is the song? Nothing really matters.
Well, that song, yeah. But when it comes down to it, it really doesn't matter. We are less significant than we think. That person should not have the power to ruin your day. That doesn't matter. Don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
When you're up, don't believe the hype. When you're down, don't believe the hype. We talk about balance.
Yeah.
Nothing really matters.
Nothing really matters.
You can't get that song out of your
mind. Yeah. And then eventually everything matters, right? Again, there's a balance to it.
Well, I mean, you leave with what you did on this planet, What is it? People won't remember what you said to them, but they remember how you made them feel. What good did you do with your time here that God gave you?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's probably the only thing that matters. Did you do more good or bad on your time on earth? Because that determines your afterlife.
Yeah. I always remember this word. My mom used to say this when I was younger. إعمار الأرض. And I always thought, what is إعمار الأرض? Like, what can I do to contribute to إعمار الأرض, right? And it's everything. It's everything that matters and that doesn't matter. It's everything that you do to someone who's younger. It's the knowledge, it's the teacher, it's the school, it's the building, it's the universe, it's the ecosystem that we are a part of. It's the countries, it's the neighbors, it's these conversations. And hopefully that with this conversation, we inspire someone or encourage someone and bring light to a human touch or something loving, something of worth. And I think that's part of Amar al-Ard. It's just to...
How would you translate it in English?
Amar al-Ard. I would say... I don't know if the word development here fits or does it.
I'm giving it a quick. Ages of the earth?
No, I think it translated A'mar. See, ChatGPT doesn't always work.
We'll fact check it and we'll put it up.
Okay.
Properly on the screen of what the definition of that is.
I like that.
We'll do that. This was really real, this conversation.
Alhamdulillah.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for opening up about a lot more than just, what you're maybe known for in your field. Thank you for giving Saudi cinema a face when you started 9-10 years ago.
Thank you.
And honestly, best of luck as you carry your craft going forward and your art. Really cool that you're doing a lot more than, just on screen. Backside of it is I would imagine, a bigger challenge. But you don't strike me as someone who shies away from a challenge. But thank you, honestly, for just opening up and being very, very real. This was one of the realest conversations I've had in 160 episodes.
Thank you so much for listening and for contributing to the storytelling and to changing narratives.
That's what it's all about. Own the narrative.
Yes.
Thanks, Fatima.
Thank you.
Loved it.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.